This is Scratched Silk Radio. NASA has a radio station, and they only play alternative rock.
On the topic of radio, let's talk about the radio demon. So we all know that Alastor, the radio demon, has a history of being a badass motherfucker and taking down some of the strongest and most feared overlords to demonstrate that. We all know this because it's been told to us. We haven't really seen him kick ass much. In fact, his first formidable foe, Adam, kinda kicked his ass. Then we see him go up against the V's while he's still injured. And while he does hold his own for most of the fight, he still doesn't demonstrate the pure raw power that we've heard about this whole time. Finally, we see him go up against Vox when Vox is the strongest sinner in hell. Alastor won this fight until Shockwave was summoned, which is pretty impressive considering his staff is still broken, and he's got some seams that indicates that he's still not put together, so to speak. Because of all of this, Alastor has been brought up on fraud allegations. So let's talk about why I don't feel that he is a fraud, and I don't think the show did him dirty by not showing his badassery. At the point that the show begins, Alastor has been absent for 7 years. He partners up with Charlie at the hotel and plays nice because he was ordered by Rosie. Because of this, we can't very well expect him to do a lot of ass-kicking in the present. So why don't they do flashbacks? I guess my answer to that question would be, why? Sure, if there were episodes that called for it, but there really hasn't been other than the episode with Mimsy where she's retelling Alastor's story, and even then it seems superfluous to add scenes of him being brutal, especially when the artwork for that was really fucking cool. He did lose to Adam, but Rosie addresses this by pointing out that while he is the strongest sinner in hell, that isn't enough for him to be able to go up against an archangel. I feel like this was important to show how powerful Adam was, how overconfident Alastor was, and of course to knock Alastor into a spiral that leads him to ultimate desperation to get out of his deal. But most importantly, I don't think that not seeing Alastor at the height of his power is a mistake. Something I've noticed is how bold Vaggie is when she talks to Alastor. She talks to him in the series much differently than she talked about him in the pilot. I'm not sure they planned on making her a fallen angel when they did the pilot, so that would make a lot of sense. Vaggie has no problem telling Alastor off, and yeah, we know that she's protective of Charlie, and as an exorcist, she arrogantly thinks that she can't be defeated, but I think there's more to it than that. She doesn't know firsthand what Alastor's capable of. She wasn't there when his radio broadcasts were first aired. She's heard stories, I'm sure, but she doesn't share that same fear of him because for as long as she's known him, he's been pretty tame. And as the audience, we are also in this boat. We've heard stories, but we haven't really seen his work firsthand. We don't know how reasonable or unreasonable he is, and we don't know to what lengths his cruelty extends. As a result, half of the fandom is pretty convinced that he's actually good, and could be redeemed, and maybe even fall in love with an angel. Thank you for that one, by the way. The fandom does not disappoint with its ability to stretch. We've fallen into that same sort of trust that Charlie has for Alastor, that same sort of docility that Vaggie and Lucifer have come to expect from him, and we've left ourselves open to be utterly blown away when we see him next season at the height of his full power. Free for the first time, staff back in proper working condition, and presumably no longer injured. Alastor is coming back full force, and I think we are all going to regret ever having doubted him.